Hello, Ben here with Studio on the Lake. You can see that still in the Stuga, the stuff has started to roll in to replace things that were lost. And I owed you a knife video. This is the knife I ordered that I thought was my favorite carving knife from Ramelson. And I like it because you can get it from Amazon and it's $20 and it comes in pretty quick. But that turned out not to be the one. This is the actual one. And you heard me griping about it in the last two videos when I carved the loon and the owl. The only way you can get it is to get this set. And the thing I didn't like about it was the blade was a little bit too long and it had a tang on it. So here's how it comes in a set. And Ramelson calls them both a bench knife. They call them the same thing. And when you compare them side by side, you can see the subtle differences. So what's a good carving knife if you're a caricature carver? You can buy a knife from any number of 10 different knife makers. It should cost you somewhere in the range between $20 and $50. And a lot of people, if you're like me, once you find a favorite, you tend to stick with that. So this is the profile of a good caricature carving knife. It's not too long, not too short. The Swedish Sloids tend to be a little bit too long, although you can get a 2-inch one. The blades are thicker on them, and they don't cut quite as finely as these, although they have their uses for carving. Obviously, the Swedes used them for years over the winter doing the Dalarna horses and various different things. So it comes packaged pretty well. You have to buy the set of two. The set was $35. And there's the difference. The knife on the left is the one I thought was right. See the tang on the bottom of that. And then you've got the knife on the right, which is a little bit thinner in blade design and whatnot. And there's the set it comes in. And we'll talk about that knife on the bottom, that one right there. It's a Swedish Simpter, scary, not Swedish, but a Simpter looking thing, scary, sharpened on both sides. So if you're a subscriber and you looked at the loon video that I did, with a knife that wasn't quite sharp, didn't have stropping compound, didn't have any stones, and roughed my way through this loon without glass eyes. And then the owl video in the background there. We have a Groot. My English Mastiff decided that these sitting on a table would be good to chew on. And you can see what he did with those. For some reason, he doesn't chew on the stuff that's painted. And there he is, looking pretty innocent. But you can see that he completely and totally destroyed those two. And it's my own fault. So, because they were down where he could get them. So we'll use that loon just to take a look at how this knife, how sharp it is coming out of the box. And one of the claims that Ramelson, a lot of the others make, is that the knives are ready to go, sharpened and honed out of the box. And this is certainly the case. That could use just a hair more. You'll get a feel for the knife. And I think it's actually sharper out of the box than the one that I did some rough work with the hone. And that was that first one. So a little bit of honing will usually get them. And in the past, they have been sharp. Here's that weird knife. A viewer bought this knife set and he asked me what the second knife was good for. And I did some research and looked at it about a year ago, and I have no idea. It's sharpened on both sides. It's got a funky curve to it. See how I'm levering that knife with my thumb? If you did that with that other knife, you would certainly need one of the thumb guards or something on there. It just wouldn't do the trick. So I don't know what I'll do with this one. It might work for leather working like this if you're doing something along those lines. It might work for chip carving, perhaps, but again, I would like one surface, not two surfaces. And if you're starting to become a beginning carver and you're working with a knife, sometimes the flat on one of those two, the one on the right hand, is sharp, and other times the curve is sharp. And you just have to remember, if you have two different knives, sharpen which one has the sharp side. So here's some polishing compound. And I just picked it up. I couldn't find any. I didn't look very hard, but I usually use Jeweler's Rouge or Tripoli. This was a set of 3 for $5 or $8, and I didn't pay attention. I just ordered them. It said knife stropping compound, and turns out the only one that's any good in that batch is the white one. The white one has a cutting material in there, and it's fairly fine. but the blue and the red are more of a polish as opposed to a cut. And here's my 2 strops that I used. That left one is a old straight razor strop. It's an antique. Probably paid $20 for it at an antique store. It has leathers on both sides, and you can use and a little hollow underneath of it where the leather flexes back and forth. Those are really good. No reason to buy a new one. Here's my multi-strop that's hard to find. You can find it, but it has the chisel profiles on there. And the side I use most is this part and the back. And I'm using that white compound on there. It was a little bit too waxy for my taste, but it worked fine. And as soon as you strap 2 straps on there, you'll find that it turns that lovely gunmetal gray color, and the white's not there anymore. So you have that, and I took that knife and stropped it a few times, probably 40 or 50 times, and it came out real nice. It's not quite where it would be as a favorite knife when you get it to the exact right sharpness in your carving, and you stop every now and again and take a few strops. There's a carver that I won't mention on here because he doesn't reciprocate, but one of the character carvers claims he never takes a knife to a stone, never takes it to a grinder or a diamond, and he only strops them. Well, that's all fine and dandy if you want to strop it 500 times. I don't. If the profile's not right on it, I will take it to a stone and set the profile and then go back to the sharpening. And the chisels are the same way. Occasionally, in my opinion, and just like everybody else's opinion, I may or may not be correct, they need taken to a stone or taken to a grinder, chisels and knives, and the profile set on them. You can buy 2 knives, you can buy 2 chisels identical. One you will like and one that you won't like as well. I don't know what that is. But as you use them, and the profile that you're used to working with for the wood that you're used to working with, that will evolve over time. And the toughest part, if you're a beginner, you don't have that developed yet, so a lot of these will work just fine. But if you've been carving for a number of years, you'll have a little bit of trouble getting back to that profile when you start to replace your tool. So a couple of strops. This knife came out real nice, and since we're ordering stuff, I did order a stone set. This was a cheap set, and it was $35. They're designed to be immersed in water for 5 minutes, so it's a water whetstone as opposed to an oil whetstone, and we won't go into the sharpening and all that. I just thought this was a neat set that gave a whole bunch of stuff. So claimed it was 4, turned out to be 6. There's a white stone there that's quite aggressive. You can use that to really get the profile going. And then these stones with a rubber grommet that flips around start from 400 grit, which is a good starting point, and then they go to 1,000, and I think the other one is 3,000 and 8,000, which is really small. It comes with an angle guide, if you like such a thing, and it gives you a set angle. And again, there's a lot of controversy on what the angle should be. And then you've got a pretty aggressive stone, which will really give you a profile fast and also really take the edge off of stuff. So there's the 4 stones. They're double-sided, and you can see 400, 1,000, 3,000, and 8,000. 3,000 and 8,000 is in the stropping area. And this set for $35, it's a really good set, and I just ordered it on Amazon. Comes with a base and the little rubber grommet, and there's 2 of them if you lose one. But you can set that up, and it's just used with water, and you can get to work fairly quick. And that'll work real nice on your kitchen knives also. So there is that. And we're not going to go into sharpening. I prefer to sharpen with a diamond slick, and this one coming up has got 600 and 800. They're about $80 a piece. My father-in-law turned me onto them, and I would use those. So here's me whining about the tang on the one knife and no tang on the other. This is what I like, and you'll see me adjust that a little bit later on. And I said I would show you what I like. So thanks a lot. This has been Ben with Studio on the Lake. Like, subscribe, and comment.